Hello, and welcome back to the Test Drive Podcast, brought to you by Sport Car USA. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Here at Sport Car USA, we love all things fast. From stock Corvettes to tuned-up Hellcats, we love it all. So buckle up and come for a ride on this week's episode of Test Drive. Hi, Lee Bodette here, your host of Sport Car USA. We are in beautiful Essex Junction, Vermont, checking out the National Street Rodder Association Car Show, and we have seen hundreds upon hundreds of vehicles, classic cars, antiques, hot rods, and roadsters. We're going to be here all weekend long, and we had a chance earlier today to talk to some individuals about their really cool cars. Let's see what they had to say.
David C. Frazier from Abington, Massachusetts.
Well, first of all, David, I want to thank you for your service. I see you're a Vietnam veteran. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
David, this car is something special. Tell us all about it.
It's a 1969 Camaro. It's got a 572, 620 horsepower. And,
How long have you owned it?
20 years now.
And did you do all these modifications yourself?
I did it all. I did not paint it.
How'd you come up with the idea to make it a 572?
I had a small block, but I think the way I built it, it looks like a race car, so I wanted the big motor.
The paint really looks special on this. Did you have a painter in mind, or did you search online to find one?
No, I have a painter friend, and he come up with a combination.
How many coats of paint?
That I don't know.
Anything you want to tell us about this car, how special it is to you?
Well, it's special because I changed the dash in it. I didn't like the 69 Camaro dash, so I put in the 1955 dash. And it's got a 4L80E transmission, and I got a 9-inch Ford rear end.
Now, I notice on the side it says, there's a sticker actually, it says Worldwide PSR 0992 Pro Street Registry Member. What does that mean?
That just means it just belonged to that organization that was out there. I don't know if it's still in. I heard the guy passed away that started it, so I don't know right now.
We're at the National Street Rod Show in Essex Junction, Vermont. Have you been here before?
Yes, I have.
What are you thinking about the show this year?
I love it, but it looks like it's low. It's not many people here as normal.
Right. Anything else you want to tell us about this car?
No, it's just a fun car, and my wife and I, we have a great time with it. Actually, my wife is the one that bought it originally, and my wife is also the one that bought the engine for me.
And did she discuss this with you before she bought it, or she just went out and got it?
The car itself, yes, we had about that, but the motor was a surprise to me.
Beautiful car, David. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm Steve Allen, Northfield, Vermont.
Steve, looks like you have a pretty sharp Camaro here today at the National Street Rods in Essex Junction, Vermont. Tell us all about it.
Well, it's a 68 Camaro, and it's black, hard to keep clean. You said it's sharp, but it's hard to keep that way. It's got the tune port injection on it, and it's basically all stock except for the top of the motor. That's about it.
How long have you owned it?
Oh, about 15 years I've had this.
Where'd you get it from?
I got this locally. Bought it from a guy, Malice Bay area. A guy had it built. Yeah.
How different is it today from the day you bought it?
Pretty much the same. Just very small updates, and that's about it. Just drive it.
So it was black?
It was black.
What's the history of the car? Do you know? Was it a one owner, two owner?
I have no idea. The guy that built it bought it out of Mass somewheres, and it's a rotisserie car. He stripped it down and went right through it. And
been to any cool places with it?
No, I don't go too far. This is my big show I go to, and that's about it. Yeah.
So you really enjoy this car a lot?
We do. Yeah. We'd enjoy it more, want easier to clean, but.
Yes, we know black is one of the sharpest colors out there, but boy, it's a pain to clean.
It is. It's hard to keep them nice, but.
Anything else you want to tell us about this car?
Well, there's not a whole lot more about it. It's just, like I say, it's a pretty good car. It's about 400 horse to the rear wheel, and it's pretty much bone stock.
Oh, what can I do?
Okay, 1 second. Okay, just tell us your full name and where you're from.
I'm Jack Lally from Lowell, Massachusetts.
Jack, you've got a beautiful car here. It's multiple colors, and tell us all about it.
It's a 38 Ford Standard two-door sedan. Got a 302 Ford motor, C4 transmission, Mustang front, 8-inch rear, and it's a nice car to get on the road in.
How long have you had it?
33 years.
And what have you done to it? Did you do all the...
Yes. Yeah, well, a lot of help from a lot of friends and a lot of, family and that. My brother painted it. Another friend of mine did most of the body work and the flames, and my brother and myself and a few people, we put the Mustang front end in, the rear end, and all that stuff, and yeah.
Do you go to a lot of street rod events?
I go to anything that I can. This hasn't been on any really long trips. Syracuse, New York, and Columbus, Ohio are the farthest it's been. I haven't gone cross country, and in the last few years, this is probably the farthest it goes during the year.
You had a little mishap here. Tell us about that.
I did. Coming up Route 89 in almost into the Vermont line, tire let go and took out the rear fender and the tail light and cracked some of the paint on the body.
What'd you do? I mean, you've got a vehicle that is very special and old. Where did you pull off, and what did you have to do about it?
We pulled on in the breakdown lane. We got as close as we could to the side, and we jacked it up, put the spare on, and my son went on his phone, because I have a flip phone. My son went on his smartphone, and he found Tire Warehouse wasn't that far away. He called them. They had that size in stock. They let us jack the car up and take them off, and they mounted them for us, and we went on our way, and we made it up.
I think that's one thing that people don't realize is when you have an older car or you have a vehicle that you've had for many, many years in general, that the tires do wear, even if you aren't driving on them.
They wear, but they were old. They were, when we checked the dates on them up there, he said they were 20 years old when he checked the dates. So that's, they tell you 7 or 8 years, that's it, max. But when you don't drive it all the time and it's still got tread on it, you forget to look.
So when you get home, are we looking at 4 tire changes?
Nope, those are brand new. We just put 4 tires. We just put
thing.
the back ones on it, and I put the front ones on last year because they had worn unevenly from being on the front all the time.
All right. Any special places you've been with this vehicle?
Last Sunday we went to Tie Rods in Massachusetts, which is a well-known local event, and we've been here. We've only missed this 3 times in the close to 30 years that this has been here.
All right.
And I did go to Syracuse, New York at the Nationals there, and Columbus, Ohio at the Nationals out there.
Beautiful car. Thanks for showing it to us.
So
if we could just have you do one last thing, give us your entire name, where you're from, and then at the end, I love Sport Car USA.
All right. I'm Jack Lally from Lowell, Mass, and I love Sport Car USA.
There you go. Yeah. Right over here, actually. Yeah. I won't bite. Just tell us your complete name and where you're from.
Mark Turner from St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
Mark, most people that watch Sport Car USA on the YouTube channel know that I love Mustangs, and you have a beautiful Mach 1. Tell us all about it.
Well, about 8 years ago, I found this car, and my son Justin did the total restoration on this thing at my shop in St. Johnsbury, Vermont. It's Mark Turner's Automotive. I did all the mechanic work on it myself, and just tickled with how it came out.
Your son did a total restoration on this vehicle. How bad a shape was it in when you got it?
The paint was checked, a few rust holes here and there, but he's got over 2,000 hours in that restoration. It came out beautiful.
What was the most difficult part of the restoration?
I would probably say doing underneath the hood and getting that proper. It just a lot of work there just to get it to where the motor would be all intact and stuff. But other than that, he had a good time doing the restoration.
What motor is in this?
351W. I put a mid-range cam and matched intake and carburetor to make it to my likings, and kind of went through the motor completely.
Do you know much of the history, Mark, on it and how many previous owners?
I do not. I found that actually on an insurance auction that I do business with, and the car was not a wrecked vehicle. I did not look at the vehicle other than pictures, so I was very scared that it was not going to be a Mach 1 when it came to my door after I won it.
So the frame was all good?
The frame was all good and everything. That was another thing I was worried about when I got it here after I bought it. Not seeing it, that it was going to be all rusty as well, but it was not rusty, and it was a Mach 1. So
How many miles on it now, and how many miles a year do you drive it?
It says 76,000 miles on it, but I've only driven it a year and a half, so I don't think I've put 1,500 miles on it.
Yeah, my 66 Mustang has 79,000 according to the odometer, but you never know.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be coming to this show again and again, so that's my favorite part of being able to drive it and meet a lot of people, and it's really good stuff.
I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories as people have been looking at your vehicle, and like
yeah.
my dad had one, my sister had one, all sorts of things like that.
Oh, yes. And one of the biggest parts, be able to spend the time with my son.
Yeah. A lot of bonding there.
Oh, yes, yeah. And we're here for the whole weekend, and we'll be back.
Any tension when the restoration was going on?
No. I mean, it was hard for me because my shop, I do the mechanic work, and I'm on my side doing mechanic work, and the car's next door. And he would work on it in his bay for about a month at a time. Then it was time to get back to insurance work and other work. And then maybe after another 5-6 month time, the shop would absorb another month, and we bring it in another month. And that's how I get it done.
What's the name of your shop?
Mark Turner's Automotive, St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
Nice free plug for you right there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. If you could just do one last thing for us. Look at the camera, say your entire name and where you're from, and then I love Sport Car USA.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, Mark Turner from St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and I love Sport Car USA.
All right.
Awesome.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay, just give us your full name and where you're from.
Justin Turner from St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
Justin, I think we just heard from your dad. As a matter of fact, I know we did because the Mustang that you helped restore is right next to us.
Yeah, I did the paint and body. He did all the mechanical work, so worked on it together.
Now, you don't look to be that old. How old are you?
33.
How did you learn to do all this?
I learned it in high school, started junior year, senior year at St. Johnsbury Academy, as well as doing a co-op program at my dad's shop, and just working on stuff over there, on the job training type deal.
Before we get to your Chevy truck here, we're going to talk about that in just a bit, as I mentioned. I want to ask you, what was the most difficult part of the restoration of the Mustang Mach 1 with your dad?
As far as the project itself, I guess just all the bodywork itself, making it straight, and it was a solid car to begin with, so no real rust work, just the fact of making it all straight. And
we asked your dad if there were any squabbles during the restoration. He said there weren't any. What about you? Were there any squabbles in your mind?
No, not in my mind. He basically just knew what he wanted, and just told me to do what I had to do, and left me to do it,
And look what you turned out.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of hours.
So, Justin, you restored the Mustang with the help of your dad.
Yeah,
nice
I did.
combination effort there.
Yeah.
Now you have another vehicle that you restored, and it's a Chevy truck. Tell us about this truck.
Yeah, it's a '87 GMC R1500. Just had it for 5 years now. Just work on it off and on. It's my daily driver for the summer, so try to keep the projects on it fairly small so I can still drive it, but it's half the fun of working on them too.
That's a good size engine, but it looks kind of small compared to the compartment it's in.
Yeah, that's true. It's a 383 stroker blueprint engine. Just finished actually last week with that project, and
Looks like you went with the matte black finish.
yeah, Sem hot rod black it is, but
Now the back end, we notice in the bed of the truck, there is a flag of the United States of America in beautiful, what type of wood is that?
it's oak. I have actually one of our customers with a plasma cutter, so he cut out the stars for me, and I basically laid them out where I wanted them, as I wanted them, and use a hand torch to burn around it. de-ate it to feather it in, and then stain and polyurethane.
How'd you come up with that idea?
I don't know, just kind of seeing different stuff online, and it kind of came to my head, and figured why not, something different.
Okay, beautiful job,
Yep.
Justin. We want you to do one last thing for us. If you could tell us your entire name, your complete name, and where you're from, and then I love Sport Car USA, okay? Right there.
Justin Turner from St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and I love Sport Car USA.
All right, beautiful job. Tell us your complete name and where you're from.
Randy Fleming in Mariah, New York.
Randy, you brought 2 cars to the National Street Rod Show in Essex Junction. Let's talk about the blue one first.
Okay, yeah. The blue one's a 1935 4-door Plymouth humpback, trunk back.
Never heard of that before.
Oh, you never did? No?
Oh, I'm young.
Oh,
Tell us about it.
well, it's got a 871 blower on it with a 454 Merlin racing block in it, all aluminum. And it's been channeled with a straight axle front end that's been split. Jaguar rear end,
Uh-huh.
400 turbo transmission. And it's been all redone. It took me about 10 years, but in between other cars, I drag race sometimes too.
So you did the restoration yourself?
Oh yeah, I built the whole car myself. Only thing I didn't do was spray the paint. And,
How long did it take you?
about 10 years in between
that, yeah.
drag cars, yeah.
Okay.
About 5 years completed, yeah.
What about the history on the car? Where it came from? What its second life was? Or its first life, I should say.
Well, I guess it was in Worldsboro, New York for a long time in a junkyard, and they used it to push cars around. And I saved it from that, obviously. Yeah.
When you first saw it, did you have this vision?
Kind of, yeah, a little bit. They actually had it painted with a paintbrush, red. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I had to take all that off. Yeah.
Much nicer color, I must say now.
Oh yeah, a little bit better. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your next car over here. Come on over here.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like it is a Cutlass.
Yeah. Oh,
What year? And
it's a 1970 Olds Cutlass S with a Rally 350 option they had in that year. Yeah, I bought it in 1975. I've had it ever since. And we used it as our family car for like 10 years. Then I had to redo the whole car.
so it's been a daily driver.
Oh yeah, at one time, if you can see the pictures. Yeah, one was back in 78, and the other one was back in 99. And actually in 99 in Lake George car show, I won Favorite 50.
Oh, the one that just happened last weekend?
No, in 99.
Oh, 99. But
Yeah.
it was the same show, though, right?
Yeah, same show, yeah.
Okay. Was it always yellow?
Yeah, that's how it came in 1970, Rally 350. That's the only color you got it in. When you bought the option with the 350, that's what they painted it, Sebring yellow.
Is this original paint?
Yes. Well, no, it's not the original from way back.
Right.
It's clear coat, base coat, but it's the original color.
Okay. What have you done to it?
Frame off registration, but I did it back in 98. Yeah,
What's it ride like?
really good. Yeah, rides real good. Yeah, I just rebuilt a new engine in it now though, but it's the original engine that's in it. Not numbers matched, but it's that from that era.
How many horsepower?
I'm guessing between 310 and 350, something like that.
Do you know previous owners?
No, I don't. No, I bought it back in 75. I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was back then.
Where did you buy it in 75?
Kentucky.
Okay. You found it online or how?
No, I went by and found it. As
You were
I
just
went
driving by?
He's driving by, yeah. It was in the dealer's shop.
Never know what you're going to find in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you could just do one thing for me, the last thing is just tell us your complete name, where you're from, and then I love Sport Car USA.
Okay, Randy Fleming from New York, Mariah, New York, and I love Sports Car USA.
Very good.
How's that?
That's perfect. Thank you. All righty, give us your full name and where you're from.
Richard David Buta. I'm from Swanton, Vermont.
Richard, you've got a Chevy Nova here. Tell us what year it is and all about it.
It's a 1969 396 SS, and Cortez Silver is the color, which is the number on the VIN number. It's 69, so the color is correct. The engine is correct as far far as all the information that I can find. I got the broadcast sheet. The broadcast sheet pretty much tells me everything that I need to know. And that's why I know it is the correct engine for the car.
What's the broadcast sheet and where did you get it?
The broadcast sheet is something that GM would put under the back seat, and they would put it up into the spring area, and that's where it was located. And actually, if you look at the broadcast sheet, it does have the spring imprint right on it, so you can tell where it came from.
That's pretty cool. Where did it come from?
It came from under the back seat.
I mean the car.
Oh, the car. Oh, we picked the car up in Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, one of the suburbs of Philadelphia.
How long have you owned it, and do you know the history on it?
I know that the car was, I've owned it for only a year, a little over a year. I know the car was stored, according to what the people told me, the car was stored for 28 years. It was repainted at one time in '83, but they had it painted a different color, so I repainted it this past winter back to the original Cortez silver, because I wanted the car to be as original as possible.
What are your future plans for it?
Keep it.
You said you want it as original as possible. What's it missing?
The engine block is a 1967 engine block. So I just found a person that says they've got a 1969 engine block, so I'm pretty interested in buying that engine block so I can put it back to a 69.
This sounds like it's something you're going to keep for many years.
I don't plan on selling it. It's the wife and I, we've actually looked for this car for 4 years, and we've looked at a few of them, and finally we found one that the sheet metal on this car is perfect. I've stripped this car, I painted it last winter. I guarantee you there's not one spot of Bondo on this car anywhere, and there's not one spot of rust on this car. The underneath of this car is in immaculate condition, and there's no bad spots at all anywhere. I was really happy because when you strip paint off of a car, you just never know what you're going to get. And so I was expecting to see some damage or some repair, an area that had been repaired or something. Nothing. It is perfect.
Pretty special that you found that worksheet, if you will.
Yeah.
Not many people know it could possibly be there, right?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people that you talk to don't even know what a broadcast sheet is.
Me.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to find this car. I mean, like I said, we looked at a few other ones, but there was red flags on them, and when I went down and looked at this one, there was no red flags. The paint was in really, really bad shape, so I knew the car needed painting, and like I said, I painted it this past winter. I finished it in January, and I don't think, other than the engine, I don't think there's anything else to be done on this car.
Richard, you said you don't want to sell it, you're going to hang on to it. I've got $750,000 in my pocket right now.
Wow. You're making my hair stand up now.
I didn't say I wanted to buy your car. I just said I have $750,000 in my pocket.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you that right now the car's not for sale.
All right. Richard, thank you very much. If you could do one last thing for us, tell us your full name, where you're from, and at the end, I love Sport Car USA, right there.
Yeah, my name is Richard Buta. I'm from Swanton, Vermont, and I love Sports Car USA.
All right, nice job, very nice. All righty, tell us your complete name and where you're from.
Mike Piscotti from Parksburg, Pennsylvania. We're just under Lancaster, Pennsylvania there, so that's where the car was built by Quality Custom Rides.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I work for a radio station, WOKO Hall Communications, and we have a radio station in Lancaster. It is Cat Country. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, that's good acting right there. He has no idea, but that's okay.
No, we love it because it's Amish country, and I have Amish neighbors, so it's cool to live just like that. And one of the bestest shows actually told me that the Amish had built his interior, and I'm like, wow, that's really something.
I've got an Amish shed.
I do too. Yeah.
I bet you do. All right, tell us about this Corvette, which looks really different to me.
Well, it started out as a drag car in bad shape. Some young ones were trying to develop the car. The gas line had a bracket from an indoor heating system and it was leaking gas, but yet they still took it down the track. They were trying to get the rear going. The heads were all done wrong, and we were trying to get it working because it was blowing black smoke. So I took the gas tank out, and essentially it looked like somebody had puked inside about 5 times. Once we got all that straightened out, then I went to this gentleman, Mike Heim, and he said, what do you want? And he asked what theme. And I think that's a lot of times they don't ask that. But for me, with my opinions, then yes, we had to go. And the theme was sexy, sassy, and if you don't mind me saying, a little badass, okay? So that's how that started, and it was not done on paper, which is what a lot of people will think that that's how it's done. You draw this, you draw that. We had to go through every part of this car and come back and have opinions and this and bigger and smaller and whatever. So we went from mild. I did the restoration first. That was all thrown out. Then it went mild, and now you see full radical custom. And that's how we kind of took about 4.5 years or so because of the time to go through each piece. It wasn't, again, drawn, so I would come back after something was done and we would discuss it. It took a lot of imagination just for the front of the car and what I thought it should be, and then like the back of the car, the seat backs, well, that came from a modern Corvette. We just didn't want it to look solid, and so that started. Well, that got the seats done. But the actual seats are all handmade, out of wood, cut, custom, fit tight, and gapped correctly. Then the seats you'll see will go down, and then the material goes under. What does that do? It takes your eyes right there. The stitching works with the doors open, with the doors closed, it matches, and it now, again, takes your eyes through that and gives you the motion in the seats and down under. The dashboard is, again, handmade out of fiberglass. It is 4 inches shorter. It mimics the original, but because of my length of my body, he decided to make it shorter. The seat, being hand done, was sunk a little bit and taken back, okay? So you'll see some semblance of a 64, but then again, all these modifications were done. This is the only C2 Roadster that we know of in the country. Now, someone might have one in a garage, but, you know, someone said to me, well, that doesn't count. But that gave us opportunities that you can't believe, because now we could do something with the doors. And it took the builder 3 different modifications to get to what you see. And as a result of that, it's a one-off there. Without the windows and without the top, because we had to decide, well, do you want an air conditioner? No. What, do you want a heater? No. So when are you going to drive it? In the summer. So all that was taken out. Your brake system is actually under the dashboard itself. The windshield wiper is sunk again under the dashboard there. None of the wires, hoses, your brake lines, all those things are hidden. So again, underneath you'll see a whole different show as well. That gave us the opportunity to do this, and the idea was, I do not want to see the engine. So when we talked about it, I said you could put in a lawnmower engine, a tractor engine, I really don't care, but I don't want to see anything. And that's what you're seeing in this case. Again, everything hidden. What you're looking at on the side is not carbon fiber. That is actually hand painted.
Well, this vehicle definitely says Corvette to anybody that walks by it. Is there any original pieces from the C2?
Yeah, that little tiny piece in the front. Yeah. Okay. And the little tiny piece in the door back there. Now, you can see their windshield wipers are there. The door handle, the rear view mirror. But the that little peak there is what we started with because we drew all this into a fine accent. What that did was, in my opinion, give you the idea of why this was developed. If you look at the 50s jet engines, okay, what you're seeing in here, to me, is the fuselage. If you want to talk about a torpedo, a gas tank, whatever, you can see that, in my opinion, on this car. And that's done by accenting it. Because we accented it, now it gives us a deeper curve. Because we have a deeper curve, it bends all the paint. So when you look from the back, it is based, in my opinion, too, on water flow. So when we have water flow, you can see it from the back, run straight through that door, come around the front, come down here, and everything's based on that motion. So everything is flow in the 3 dimensions, the paint, even the carbon fiber could have been square, but the builder was smart enough to take that forward, and now it gives you that same motion.
What about the door handles, the outside mirrors, the bumper in the back, and then the gas cap?
Those are all original,
Okay.
but the thought was, well, how much do you want to keep? Okay, and if you take any of that off, it just gives you a monochromatic, just straight look. So by leaving those, it, as you said, it keeps some of those Corvette ideas. I mean, if you look at it and you say, well, wait a minute, what do I have those sprayers for the windshield for? Am I ever going to run the windshield wipers? Well, if this is in rain, we're all in trouble.
Final question. Tell us about the paint and the wheels.
Okay, the wheels are shot wheels, custom made. Took us many months to get them. Then you had to send them out to polish them, and that had to wait. And then you had to mount them. The problem with the mounting was they scratched them. So now they had to go back and go repolish, get repolished. The depth of that is a 20-inch. The tires are 18. The tallness of the tires is 29-inch, but it has QA shocks. It is a total 4-link with a cross member with QA adjustables, so we can now set it for street or drag. The transmission is the original drag 2-speed, so we can get up pretty good with the LS conversion.
And the paint?
The paint is a custom blend. It was taken from a major manufacturer and then just taken darker and darker. This is my choice. The people in the shop originally at that point didn't care for the color. Who puts a purple Corvette together? What are you, nuts? But the builder and I kind of knew where we were going. And so this is a custom PPG blend. Thank you, guys. But it's called Sensation. So we have sexy, sassy. The name of the car is Sasha. The paint is Sensation.
I was going to ask if it had a name. It's Sasha.
It is Sasha. You got it.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you could do one last thing for us, give us your full name, where you're from, and then I love Sport Car USA right there.
All right. Hey, Mike Piscotti from Parksburg, Pennsylvania. Come see us. And I love these guys at Sport Car USA. Come visit with them.